Hello, everybody. I'm Steve Costello here with my colleague and friend Leo Faerberg over there in Ireland. How are you doing? So, what's happening
Good.
in the whole world? You okay, Leo?
Something's something's happening in the whole world.
Something's happening. Yeah, there's always something. Yeah,
Yeah.
interesting. Not complicated, but it's true. Um, let's talk about Marvel characters. So, why would two psychologists want to talk about Marvel characters? Well, they're a great metaphor for some of the stuff that is going on with many of us, and certainly I've seen many things in my clients of late that relate, so it can be related to some of these characters. So I want to use the idea of the Incredible Hulk. If you're not familiar with the Incredible Hulk, in the beginning, he's a gentle, nice guy, a scientist, and he studies all kinds of stuff. I don't know the detail of the Hulk because I'm not that familiar with the story, but he studies stuff and he's a gentle guy. The sort of guy you'd say, yeah, I'd go for a coffee with him, no problem. But then he made this chemical thing which he drank. And when he drinks this, he becomes this kind of green monster. He's scary, he's aggressive, he destroys stuff. And you don't want to get on the wrong side of him. And I definitely would not be going for a coffee with that guy when you see Incredible Hulk. But then the liquid or whatever it is wears off and he becomes his nice, gentle self again that we can go for a coffee with. So, is there some of the Incredible Hulk in all of us? Let's have a think about it. Let's have a think about why as well. Let's have a think about the sort of things that are happening in our world when we feel as though 1 minute we're that calm person and the next minute we're the Incredible Hulk. What is it that's going on? Is it because of anxiety? Are there anxieties around in our world that kind of push us that way sometimes? So, what exactly is it? So, where shall we start, Leo? What do you think?
Oh, there's a lot to tell, and but we have to keep it short. So probably what we have to start it is at is yes, actually, what people try to avoid thinking is that how much of an animal we all are, and how we were actually designed to live in nature, in natural environment, full of tons and tons of threats. And the basic need for a human in order to be alive is safety and therefore protection. And so our whole system, our whole body, and of course our brain are created this way to look for safety and be ready to protect our lives and the lives of the family of the tribe. Because this is how humans are supposed we're supposed to survive, helping each other, not fighting with each other, and after fighting kind of making it up. So that that probably suggests that every one of us has this reaction to protect ourselves just in case. And so, to my understanding, hulks are in all hidden. They're hidden in all people, and they wake up when we are tired, when we are threatened, when we lose control, or whatever reasons there are. If our hulks perceive there is threat, whatever threat it is, not necessarily a lion or something. I usually like the example of like a boss raising an eyebrow.
Yeah.
That's quite a threat.
I
And
did,
so their
sorry.
body looks for some means to protect, and one of them is to fight. And there comes in the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah. My Incredible Hulk's quite interesting. I need to talk about it. Well, during my basic psychology and counseling therapy training, one of the things that we had to do was a big exercise or exercises in introspection, looking in what's going on in there. What is it that causes me to fight or run or freeze sometimes. What's happened in my past, all of those things. So we explored that. And one of the things that came to me instantly, because I'm very familiar with this character, it doesn't have a name, it's a character in black.
Mhm.
If I were to draw it, some people might think it's, for example, a Roman Catholic priest. Not that there's anything wrong with Roman Catholic priests, but they wear mostly black, or in my experience, they wore mostly black, like black jacket, black trousers, black shirt. Okay, they had a white collar around their neck. It was this character in black. And when this character in black came out to play, and it was a he would throw things. He would get angry. He would get frustrated. He would make me feel as though I needed to rise up and challenge something. And you know what? He was right, because he only came out to play when something else was going on in my world that I didn't know what to do about. So it could have been in school, for example. I remember a situation where somebody wanted to fight me all the time. It was about him, it wasn't about me. But this guy wanted to fight all the time. So my anxiety rose when this guy was anywhere within my vicinity. And the black dress person, thing, whatever you want to call him, would come out to defend me. But of course, at that time, this started when I was about 12 years old. I didn't really see that this black thing was there to look after me and to protect me in a way. So that I think is something worth exploring. It's quite interesting. But as we said, we don't have a lot of time because this could take all day. The process within my training took several months, so it's not going to be managed in one short podcast. But I picked up on anxiety. So I had some anxiety, particularly when this guy was around. He was a lot bigger than me as well. That was quite scary. And I've never been a fighter. And certainly as a 12-year-old, I was not a fighter. I would prefer to sit in a warm, sunny place, where everybody's nice and gentle. But of course, the world isn't like that, is it? So the anxiety comes out to play, and then we start getting feelings in the pits of our stomach, for example. We get all of the anxiety symptoms. The 12-year-olds don't recognize those. They just feel uncomfortable. We feel frustrated. And I hit that guy one day. And like I said a minute ago, that was never me. I would never hit somebody. But the guy in black, he made me do it. At least that's how it felt at the time, which is quite interesting. So what's your take on all of that stuff?
That black guy was is created to protect you, right?
Yeah,
And the
absolutely.
anxiety actually, because everybody's fighting anxiety nowadays, and we are part of the system trying to fight anxiety. But sometimes we forget that anxiety actually has its basic meaning. It's uh, you know, it's not a symptom, it's not something bad. It gets back when it grows or uh, persistent existence. But actually, it's just a signal that you are under threat, and your body, your brain perceives something as threat. And sometimes, oh, there's nothing to be scared of. You are sitting there in the safe room or safe office, or nobody's gonna attack you. But people get this sensation, this signal from many reasons. People are very complex creatures. Another thing we constantly forget. Oh, do this marvelous exercise and you'll be a new person after that. No, maybe for some minutes, maybe you feel different and you feel fine, but nevertheless, you just have to go deeper and analyze what your anxiety wants to tell you. And human life is built around anxiety and threats and fighting threats or escaping threats. And so all these elaborate things we do, uh, and all these fancy diagnoses we get, they all about basically one thing, uh, trying to conceal anxiety or not being able to conceal anxiety.
Yeah. I think those are
And
brilliant
Hulks,
points. Yeah.
yeah, and Hulks usually are not very wise because they are a metaphoric figure about some deeper animal layers of our brains that are supposed to kill anybody who tries, or perceive as trying to kill us or hurt us or hurt close ones. So I and yes, we talk a lot about uh, regulating ourselves, regulating our anxieties. But there are other types of therapies where such metaphoric figures get analyzed. In Jungian psychology, they're called shadows. And actually, we can, we have to, you said you never explored this guy. You thought it was something like possessing me. It
Yeah.
wasn't me, it was him who hit the guy, finally. Good boy. But and then you never thought you could explore this character until you got into psychological training and therefore working on yourself. But actually, I think nowadays with so much information about psychology and such a good access to psychological help, these guys inside our minds are to be to get acquainted with them, to know them, and integrate them, what we call become one when you accept this character in yourself, when you know this character, when you know the purpose. Because what we do, we usually try to push them down. No, no, don't. No, you sit there. But it's like, okay, come on, and let's discuss how we can do it in a socially acceptable way, not hitting everybody all around. Because these are the guys you see those drunk fights in the streets near the pubs, or where those family scandals and abuse. These are the hulks that are unleashed. They got out of control.
Yeah.
And so probably if you know your Hulk better, you make
Yeah.
friends. Do I remember it right that in the movie he finally managed to control it,
I have no
or
idea. I don't remember.
because I don't remember. Because actually I was brought up. I'm not original an English speaker, and so I was brought up on some different uh, material. Like remember that probably might be a precursor to Incredible Hulk about Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Yeah.
But still, I am sure that
Yeah. I
there is a
think it's
connection.
there's a
And at
link.
the end,
Yeah.
he could not manage Mr. Hyde, and he completely uh, hijacked the character,
Yeah.
and so Dr. Jekyll could not get out afterwards.
Yeah.
And that's probably a metaphor for a mental health that couldn't be cured or wasn't cured issue. Mental
Absolutely.
health issue.
Yeah. So we're talking about levels. So there's the anxiety that comes up in my case, the man in black, and that brought on some anxiety. The situation of the guy who was really is perhaps fairly described as a bully, or it was at that time.
Hmm.
So that created all kinds of anxiety. There are anxieties at a quite low level that can be managed fairly easily,
Yeah,
but anxiety can go the other way, like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and Dr. Jekyll disappears, Mr. Hyde takes over. And
yeah.
obviously, as you said, that becomes a big mental health challenge that needs support, needs some working on, and so on and so on. I notice a lot of people come to me, not only the people that come to me, but people commenting, for example, on things in social media. Threads is a good example.
Hmm.
If you go and use the hashtag mental health, for example, and see which posts come up, you'll find in there a lot of people talking about their anxiety. They're talking about their anxiety like it's a thing that has to be, I need a pill for it. I need to get rid of it. I need to sort it out. I need to do it now because my anxiety is taking over everything. I've met a few of these people, a few of these people have become clients, and yes, they do have anxieties, but the anxieties are not taking over. What they're doing is perhaps dwelling, overly dwelling on the man in black or the Hulk or whatever it is, because they don't know what else to do. They don't know which way to take it. They don't know how to manage this dark side. Should they manage the dark side? They have so many questions that they go back to focus on. I have anxiety. Help. I can't manage this. I don't know how to talk about it. It's affecting everything. And for some people, it's true, as we said, sometimes it becomes a mental health challenge. And for them, their anxiety does seem to affect everything. But for others, it's not. It pops in and pops out, and perhaps rightly so. It's there to look after us, there to protect us. So we need to do some thinking about this. We need to enable people to think about this. This is what I spend a lot of my working time doing.
Yeah,
Let's pause. Let's pause for a minute. Let's have a think about this. Where is this coming in from? What's fueling it? Where does the fire? When does the fire start?
yeah.
Which is quite an interesting question. So where can we take this now? If we're not careful, we're gonna hit record.
Yes, we can. Hmm. I think if we start to wrap up, it will be quite just enough.
Yeah,
As anxiety is such a big thing now and it's so discussed so much, and many people don't recognize their anxiety. They don't come to us and say, "Oh, I have anxiety." They say, "I procrastinate," for example. "I'm lazy. I cannot. I have to be busy all the time," and they don't name it as anxiety. And when I ask, and what happens when you like stay all alone, all by yourself, for example, and don't go to work or don't get yourself busy, they say, I don't. And I don't know because I don't. People take all kinds of substances because they feel unwell, they feel uneasy, they feel something, and they don't label it as anxiety, but actually it is. It's
yeah,
that state that is intolerable, and you have to do something not to experience
yeah.
this
I
state
think
in the
I
body.
think one of the dangers, though, yeah, you're right. Most people don't label this thing as anxiety, but many people do. And I've noticed that many of those people who do are doing it based on things they've read, things they've seen. I'm not talking about scientific research reports. I'm talking about chatter on Facebook or wherever it happens.
Yeah, or some real or
As-
whatever.
Yeah, or a reel they spotted. Oh, yeah, I identify with that. And perhaps to a small extent, yeah, they do identify. But yet,
And
I think there's too much, for me, there's too much self-diagnosis going on. And that,
too much self-diagnosis is going on. And also, there is another thing. People don't realize how contagious anxiety is, especially for sensitive people. You're like, you're okay, you read the post by somebody about something bad or about their anxiety, about their depression, and you start and suddenly find yourself feeling anxious because humans are wired this way to recognize other people's uh, states, and especially anxiety, because if you are in trouble, your tribe is in trouble most
yeah,
of the time,
yeah,
and you have to recognize the signs of anxiety. It's like deer in the woods. If one hears something and raises the head, and someone rushes, the whole herd is rushing
there's a head
next
process. Yeah,
next to the
absolutely.
same with humans. But another thing is a wonderful thing. Actually, calm state is also contagious, but we recognize it a bit less uh, than anxiety, because anxiety is firing up and obvious. And even a person has the calm like
Yeah,
side,
yeah,
but you somehow feel the tension.
yeah,
Uh, and the same with kind, soft, relaxed, safe state. People recognize it. but when they're very anxious, it takes time.
Yeah.
And so, and there are not so many calm and relaxed and safe messages on social media now.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I think that's true. And also, one of the things you were talking about without using the word in there was empathy. So
Mhm.
let's not get
Sensitivity.
started today on empathy, but it was clearly in there. As
Yeah.
humans, we are very good at empathizing with one another, especially in group situations. We perhaps don't always see what we're doing, the way we're acting and reacting as empathy, but it's there all of the time. We just don't spot
Mhm.
it.
Yeah.
Let's stop there for today.
Yes.
Maybe we can talk about empathy next time. Let's see what comes up between now and then.
Mhm.
Anybody who has a question, please don't hesitate. Leave the questions, send direct messages, do whatever you've got to do to get in touch, and Leo or myself will always respond. Have a brilliant week. Take care. Speak to you soon.
Bye.